I have a last question about organization. Do you believe in the power of intuition?
Yeah, I don't know what it is, but I'm pretty sure it exists.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you make the difference between, like, for example, you were not in my plan. You were not in my plan, and I felt maybe the intuition at late during the night to do that in Facebook.
Right.
And it works. It's funny because it took me maybe 30 minutes, and I discover you, and I discover just before to you another amazing CEO, and it was not in my plan, and maybe it was intuition that time.
Yeah.
But sometimes it is not.
Right.
Sometimes I would love that it was intuition.
Yeah.
But it is not. So how makes the difference? Do you understand what my question?
Yeah. Look, Malcolm Gladwell in the book Blink, talks about, he thinks that there is a scientific basis for intuition, that our gut instinct is actually, in an empirical sense, you can observe that it is more right than our conscious mind. I don't know if I buy that completely, right? I think in some cases it's probably true. In other cases, probably not. I know that there are cases, in my past where I thought I was following my gut, but I was doing something very wrong. Now, it feels slightly superstitious to me to say, well, you just have to learn how to trust your gut. But how? How does one do that? You know what I mean? Now, if I knew a scientific, observable, reliable way to do that, I would be able to teach you how to do that, and I would say, yeah, always follow intuition. So until we get to that point, I would say I just don't know. So I use a combination of things. All right. So I believe that that's true, and I would say maybe even more random things. I use meditation, for ideas, and sometimes amazing ideas just come to me through meditation. During meditation or during a dream, I'll wake up, I feel like the hand of God has reached in and pulled my soul out and said, this is a great idea. You know what I mean? Right? Literally, you probably felt things like this before in your life, It doesn't happen every day, sadly, but it happens. Can you ignore that? I don't know. Maybe there's really something to that. Maybe there's something, in the ether that transmits these great ideas. But I know that if I am the crazy dog with those things, that I'm probably going to end up scattered all over the place. So I listen to it, but I organize myself properly so that when that happens, I put it down in the dream catcher, and I know that when I do start my day, I will process that properly.
So maybe the difference it is that you are listening to this kind of voice, but you have this idea, but it's not. You are not impatient to use it and to do it now.
Yeah.
You can wait for the next day. That's right?
That's right. But there are exceptions. Okay. And some exceptions are, for example, when you're writing, or when you're involved in any creative activity, sometimes your creativity is like this freight train, and you build up this steam and it just gets faster and stronger, and you go with it. It's a flow, yeah. There's that great book called Flow, it talks about that state, right? Or it's just that you're tuned into that frequency, if you will. It sounds a little airy-fairy, but there's probably something to that. You're getting this information somewhere. I don't think it's just the brain. I think we're probably going to discover that there's more to it. So it comes down to being able to train yourself to be able to manage states of awareness, in a sense, right? So as I get better and better at that over time, and I do this through physical discipline and through meditation and through consciously learning how to have control over my body through breathing, right? Through exercise, through meditation.
And how many meditation do you do? How often do you do?
I don't have a set rule. I use meditation on occasion when I suddenly remember that I need to do it, right? And I use it for many different things. Meditation and breathing can be used for, normalizing the body, bringing the body back to a state of homeostasis. There are certain, breathing patterns that you can use to do that. Meditation can be used to put yourself into a creative state, for example. Earlier today, I needed a little bit of inspiration for something I was working on. We have a next phase of what we're doing with the company, and I had a whole bunch of different things that I had to juggle. And I said, look, we've got to decide with all of these things we have going on in the company, how am I going to communicate this to the customers in a way that's engaging? And, I talked about this with my guys, and I said, you know what, I don't have an answer for this right now. Let me meditate on it and come back to you. I'd speak about this openly with my team, and then I meditated using a device. I can talk about the device.
Music?
This particular device is a combination of sound, of light, and of electrical stimulation on the earlobes, right?
Wow.
And
what is the name? I would like to try.
So that particular device, and I wouldn't necessarily endorse this device, or there are many, many ways you can do this, and you can get just sound files you can download on the internet. Binaural entrainment is the primary technology, right? And what that is it's you take a sound of one frequency and put it in the left ear, and the sound of another frequency and you put it in the right. And whatever the difference is of those two frequencies, your brain will be entrained. The dominant brainwave pattern that you will get will match that frequency. Now, this is a scientifically observable thing. I've done this on myself with EEG. You can hook yourself up to an EEG, and you can get EEGs for very cheap now, by the way. When I first started experimenting with them, they were thousands of dollars. But because I'm a little crazy like that, I got it and started experimenting with it. But you can get it very cheap now and monitor what your brainwave patterns are. And you will find that using these types of patterns will get you into specific brainwave frequencies. And different brainwave frequencies are associated with different states of mind. So, for example, the alpha state is a mildly relaxed state between 8 and 12 hertz. Okay, hertz is cycles per second, right? A beta state is what you and I are probably in right now, right? We're a slightly alert, awake state, right? And that's around 12 to 16, something like that. And then you've got a theta wave state, which is very interesting. Creativity, dreams, mystical experiences, that all happens in the theta wave state between 4 and 8 hertz.
Wow.
Delta wave is 0 to 4, and that's deep sleep. Dreamless sleep happens in those states. Now, I say all this, I'm parroting it because this is information that's out there. We don't really understand what's going on in the human brain with this stuff, but we do know that there are correlations between these frequencies. And the brainwave patterns are not simple. Part of your brain could be, operating at one frequency and another part at another, so it's not a simple thing. But we do know that you can influence these things with sound, with light, and with electrical stimulation of the brain.
Wow, it's amazing.
Good stuff, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Explore, but proceed with caution, okay? Because this is all experimental stuff we're talking about here. And nobody knows what really goes on with these things. But I can tell you personally, anecdotally, that my own personal experimentation with that has helped me enormously in many, many ways.
Cool. It's very inspiring.
Cool.